Next group we have up here, it was a deal done by Dayton, Lindsey, and Jan. Jan wasn't able to make it here tonight. So if you guys want to come up, we can talk a little bit about that one.
Thank you. Take this one. Take it for questions.
So how did you end up finding this property?
So this was a property that we got a phone call on after we sent out a letter. And long story short, the owner basically said that he just wanted to walk away from the property, didn't want anything to do with it anymore, and it may have some slight liens against it. We went out to meet him and look it over. It wasn't in a super great neighborhood, so obviously we were a little bit skeptical, but we thought we'd go see it and check it out.
What were the liens that were on the property?
Okay, so his slight liens, there was, normal, $3,000 to the water company. There was about $23,000 in back taxes and homestead penalties. And then there was a $318,000 code enforcement lien. So, long story short, what we ended up doing is, at the beginning, I was like, this is never going to work. Obviously, the numbers were way off. So, we decided to pursue it a little bit with a little bit of pushing, and I ended up contacting the City of Titusville attorney, and basically after, 20 phone calls, 30 emails, whatever, she finally said, we'll settle with you for $3,000. So that ended up being pretty awesome. There was actually even more to that, but it's a long story.
Was there any guarantee for the $3,000, or did they say, go ahead and close, do this, and we probably will?
She said that she would not give us the release until after our repairs were completed. We had to give her a scope of work that we were going to do to it, and she said, we're going to have to sign off or else you don't get your sheet of paper. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking, but we decided to take the plunge. The taxes we paid off at closing, the homestead penalties were actually $19,000 roughly, because the previous owner had been caught. Well, long story short, the owner actually passed away. Her son moved into the house and never changed anything. So they found out that she wasn't living there anymore, and they back taxed it for about 11 years or so, roughly, at $19,000.
The homestead penalties, is that something that they can foreclose on, or they just sit there and collect interest?
Well, the interesting thing was with the homestead penalties was I called Brevard County, and what they had said was that they had said, there is interest accumulating every year, but after 20 years, they just fall off and they just go away. So it's like, all right, we're going to rent this thing out. So if we just let it sit there, we never have to worry about it, which was originally our plan. Until a little bit later on, we found out somebody else said, no, they don't ever go away. So we ended up deciding to, well, she'll finish that part, but it ended up changing our minds on what we were doing with the property.
What repairs did you initially anticipate, and how much did you think they were going to cost?
Well, so originally we're going into it as a rental. Obviously, when you're doing a rental rehab versus a fix and flip rehab, sometimes things are a little bit different on how you're going to do the work. So going into it, we had to pretty much gut the place. We had to do the master bath had to be completely redone. We did a new toilet, vanities, tub, tile surround. That one was just a pretty big mess. We had to do all new flooring in it. It was terrazzo floors throughout, so it was easy. We just did some peel and stick vinyl flooring, which was pretty simple. We had to do the roof. The electrical box inside and out needed to be redone, which is another interesting story. We won't get into that either. But we had to paint inside and out. So had we had known, that we were going to flip it, which wasn't our original plan, we might have done things a little bit differently. But overall, going into it, $25,000 in repairs to get it redone. We had to do a full new kitchen too, did some lighting. So overall, it was pretty simple. It's just, again, we originally thought we were going to keep it as a rental. So we got some used appliances. And, you know, overall, it just, you know, it ended up working out because we are closing on it tomorrow and for $100,000. So, I don't know what you want to add to that.
What, let's just run through the numbers real quick.
Okay.
You know, purchase price of $8,000, was that, you know, to the seller, or what was it?
So he just basically gave us the property. He said, I don't want to have to come out of pocket with any money. So in order for us to close, we just had to come up with $8,000 to pay off the back taxes, the water lien, and just your original closing costs. The rehab, like I said, is $25,000 to get it, you know, ready to rent out. And again, the homestead penalties, you know, close to $20,000 that's going to come out of the closing when we get that done tomorrow. The commissions, we had listed on the MLS, so we got the realtor commissions that we're paying out, and then our holding costs of $2,000. So overall, our profit, you know, right around $41,000 in 5 months.
Worked out pretty good for something that was supposed to be a rental, huh?
Yeah, I'd say.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Were you able to get either the county or the city to forgive any of the liens?
The question was, did the county forgive any of the liens on the property?
So the code enforcement liens, which were for a dead tree in the backyard and the fact that it hadn't been mowed in forever, that went from $318,000 to $3,000 is basically what it ended up being. There was actually some negotiations where she gave me the $3,000 number to begin with, and then she came back later on and said, just kidding, it's $8,000. And I said, no, that doesn't work. And so it took more phone calls and more paperwork, but we finally got it back down to $3,000 again. But we paid the water bill and the back taxes. We didn't get any negotiating on that.
Yes, sir.
Neil.
Does the city or the municipality generally waive what are the daily fines, but they will charge you for the hard costs? Like if they had to hire somebody to mow it, if they had to hire somebody to remove the junk, if they had to hire somebody to remove the tree, is that what the $3,000 was for?
Well, the hard costs to
repeat
them
the
was about
question.
$1,700.
Repeat the question.
Oh, he was asking me, as far as the $3,000 that we ended up paying, what percentage of it was actually hard cost to them versus administrative costs and other things that they occur over time. About $1,700 was their hard cost that they had actually invested into the property for mowing it and different things and other. And basically the lawyer, who honestly, she kind of became a friend of mine over the process, but she said that their office was just basically going to take the $1,300 to cover their administrative stuff, and that was it.
Yes, sir. How much of the work did they do themselves?
Not a thing.
Nice.
We made some trips to Home Depot. We brought some flooring up there and did that kind of stuff, but as far as swinging a hammer, no.
Any other questions? Yes, sir. How long did it
Start to
take?
finish, about 5 months.
And just one more question. Who's Jan?
Alex. Oh, sorry.
Who's Jan?
Jan Anderson is, go ahead, Dayton.
Jan Anderson is one of our other partners on it. She couldn't be here tonight, but she is a real estate agent with Fisher Realty. You've probably seen her around. She's one of the best interior decorators in all of Brevard County. I always shout that out because her houses are truly amazing, but she does rehabs, short-term rentals, and a couple other things, but she came in and partnered with us on it.
Did you use your own money, private money, or hard money?
Actually, we pretty much funded it ourselves because our purchase price was so small, rehab costs. We just funded it and went from there.
All right, great deal. Thank you, guys.